Our final story, which is our second story, is called Mr. Muddle's Good Catch, read by the same artists. On this particular day, Mr. Muddle was in a very good mood. Miss Scatterbrain had invited him to go fishing by the sea. Before he left, he sat down at his table and tried to write a list of all the things he would need. I'm sure you're surprised to hear that Mr. Muddle wrote a list. I was. Perhaps Mr. Muddle had decided that he had enough of making a terribly muddly muddle of everything. As he set out to buy the things that he needed for a day's fishing, he began to sing a favourite song. 5 little fish went what? Went up the hill to fetch a pail of water? No, to buy a currant bun with a sugar on top? Perhaps? Ah, no. It doesn't seem as though Mr. Muddle had stopped making a terribly muddly muddle of everything. Does it? Mr. Muddle went straight to the fishmonger's. Good morning, he said. I'd like some worms for my fishing rod. The fishmonger looked very confused indeed. So Mr. Muddle went to catch the bus. When the bus arrived, instead of getting onto it, Mr. Muddle asked for a cheese and jam sandwich. And strawberries with ketchup, please, he added. How very muddled. Finally, Mr. Muddle arrived at the seaside. I think I was going to meet somebody here, but I just can't be sure who. What a terrible muddle, said Mr. Muddle to himself. He thought as hard as he could, but he just couldn't remember who he was meant to be meeting. His thinking was interrupted by Miss Splendid walking past. Am I not looking magnificent today, Mr. Muddle? Miss Splendid asked, not very modestly. Yes, absolutely magnificent, I do believe. Oh, no, I mean, yes, said Mr. Muddle, in a terrible muddle. Were you looking for me by any chance? Not at all. I was perfecting my suntan, said Miss Splendid. But I have a marvellous idea. Let's go ice skating. There's competition today, and I'm sure to be splendid and win everything. It wasn't long before Mr. Muddle found himself wearing ice skates and stepping out onto the ice. Help me, Miss Splendid, cried poor Mr. Muddle, desperately grabbing onto his fishing rod. There's something not quite right about this floor. It's terribly slippery. But Miss Splendid just glided away elegantly. Then all of a sudden, Miss Splendid turned and headed straight towards Mr. Muddle, scooped him up and twisted and twirled him high in the air. She spun him round and round, faster and faster, until he didn't know what his up from his down, and his right from his wrong. His left. In any case, he was terribly muddled. But the judges thought it was a triumph and gave them the highest scores. And now for the next 2 contestants, announced the commentator, Mr. Wrong and Miss Scatterbrain. What a pair, Mr. Wrong and Miss Scatterbrain. Mr. Muddle, Miss Splendid, Mr. Wrong, and little Miss Scatterbrain were all as silly as each other. So together they began the silliest ice dance ever seen. The audience loved it. Encouraged by the crowds, the skaters threw themselves into a final riot of twists and turns. And Miss Splendid ended the routine splendidly, flying through the air holding on to Mr. Muddle's fishing rod. What a catch! The crowd clapped and cheered until they could clap and cheer no more. And who do you think won the ice skating competition? It was the 4 friends, of course. We've won the fishing competition, cried Mr. Muddle, as he was handed the cup. Mr. Muddle was so happy that when he went to bed that night he took his cup with him. He also slept his ice skates, because then if Miss Scatterbrain invited him fishing again, he'd be sure to be ready. The next morning the telephone rang. It was Miss Scatterbrain. Do you think she invited Mr. Muddle fishing? No. She invited him to go skydiving? Or was it driving? Or dribbling? Oh dear, what a muddle. Time for our story or bedtime lesson.